Welcome, London, back to the Manish Tiwari show. One of the great things about the city is, no matter what happens, you'll find incredible people and incredible experiences on the streets of London. This is truly a multicultural, multi-cosmic city, and my show is a tribute to the city and to this great nation. And when we talk about tributes, in the current situation, when the pandemic is kind of still at its peak, most of the world is still being haunted and troubled by it. This great nation has an institution which truly has served the people of this country and continues to do the very best which is possible in these times. And when I talk about this institution, this is not just a British institution, it's a great British institution. Yes, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about NHS, the National Health Services, which has served this country so well since the World War II, and today is being talked about from the United States to India, from Africa to Europe. Everyone has been talking about NHS and raving about it. So today we have someone with us in the studio who represents NHS, who has been working for NHS for the last 23 years. That's an incredible amount of time. When I talk about 23 years, in today's time, the millennials, they can't believe that anyone can be working itself for 23 years. And here you have this incredible lady who's been working with NHS for the last 23 years, giving her the very best, working for the BAME communities. Let me introduce Geraldine Parker-Smith to you. Geraldine, are you here?
I am. Good
Brilliant.
afternoon, Manish.
Good afternoon. And what a pleasure to have you here, because you've been working in the NHS for the BAME communities, which is underrepresented in most fields, especially in things where it counts the most, particularly communication. And you've been kind of holding this fort. You have been doing this very constructively, and I'm very, very honored to have you here on my show today.
Lovely, thank you. Very humbled to be here.
Very nice. So when I was just reading your intro, Geraldine, one thing I noticed is that you define yourself as a devout Christian. And I think that goes very well with the ethos of being a Christian and serving people. And I think somewhere, what NHS stands for and what NHS does is also serve people. So I think you have a perfect value fit. And I think then I believe you're in the right place. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely. I have a love and a passion for what I do. So I work for NHS Blood and Transplant, which is a special health authority. And we save and improve the lives of people by providing a safe, reliable and efficient supply of blood to the NHS in England. And I have a passion and a joy every day when I wake up Monday to Friday to go to work. I love what I'm doing, with the understanding that I'm helping to save and improve people's lives, and especially an understanding that I'm helping to save and improve people's lives from the Black and Asian community and from all different ethnicities. Is absolutely wonderful. So yes.
Great. So as we are coming out of pandemic, hopefully, the vaccine is out. And I believe that what we've been told from the very next week, the vaccines will be inoculated to people who are vulnerable. So I think hopefully we have crossed that bridge and we are out of a very kind of vulnerable situation into the light. And hopefully, as the Prime Minister said today, hopefully by March or early summer, we would be out of this situation. Now, as we talk about pandemic, obviously all over the world, NHS has been praised a lot. We have called it Pride of Britain. We have often clapped for it. And, in the current situation, that has been a lifeline for a lot of people. What do you think, how do you see this whole situation and the role of NHS within?
Yes, so I think the NHS, as you said, is an incredible organisation, and they have done, phenomenally well during this pandemic. I take my hat off to them, all of the staff, every one of them, whether they're from a porter to a cleaner to a doctor to a nurse. everyone, and people that work for NHS blood and transplants, or whether you're in the organ, work for the organ side, or whether you work for the blood side, everyone, just every aspect of NHS, I think they are incredible for what they've done during this pandemic, and I salute them, and especially for the nurses and all the people that are doctors that are from the BAME community, because a lot of them have been on the front line. And as you know, Manish, unfortunately, we've also lost a lot of people from our community. But they are heroes, and we have to continue to hold them up as heroes. And yes, the NHS, the people that work for the NHS are incredible. And yes, they deserve the claps, they deserve the accolades. They've done amazing during this pandemic.
Absolutely. I mean, they deserve every clap, and this nation will be always indebted to them. Geraldine, before we kind of move on to the next question, would you like to kind of share something, any particular incident which kind of triggered that emotion, which kind of made you feel particularly proud of the role which you're doing, or of being part of NHS? Is there some recollection, something which you saw which made you feel like, look, I'm in the right place and I'm doing something for which I've been sent to this planet, for which I was born? Was there something, anything, any recollection?
Yes, when I think every day of the role that I do, and the patients that I meet, the case studies, people that have been on the receiving end of maybe receiving a blood transfusion, or somebody that maybe have received an organ transplant, I'm very, very moved by listening to those stories. I work on a daily basis with people. I want to talk about the blood side. There are people especially within the Black community, that is suffering from an illness or a blood condition called sickle cell. And sickle cell patients need to receive regular blood transfusions in order to save and improve their lives. And the other day, I was fortunate to be on a webinar where I heard a young man talk about, he goes to the hospital, I think it's every 4 weeks, to receive a blood transfusion. And he said he's been receiving this blood transfusion for many, many years. And he said there was one day when one of his children came to him and said, Daddy, I didn't realize that you lived here. I thought you lived at the hospital. And what it was before there was these regular blood transfusions, before they were able to receive these regular blood transfusions, that was literally happened to save and improve his life. He was spending more time at the hospital because there wasn't so frequently back in those days receive these regular blood transfusions, these blood exchange. And so he wasn't home enough. So his child thought he lived in the hospital. So when I'm here to see how, because NHS Blood and Transplant has really galvanized the community to try and engage them to give more blood donations, it means this young man can receive more transfusions, and it means he can spend more time at home with his family than what it is than what he was doing in the hospital. And then there's so many case studies that I work with people who are so grateful for receiving an organ transplant. And when they share how their life has been improved since they received, whether it's a kidney transplant or whether it's a lung transplant, their life is back to normal. They can be a mother again, and they can have family time again, and they can go to work again. Those things I was thinking, that's why I get up every day, and that's what I do, because when I hear those stories are so moving and so heartfelt, knowing that that's what the NHS does. That's what the team of people that work in the NHS, whether it's on the blood side, whether it's a nurse, whether it's a donor carer, whether it's a surgeon, whether it's a SNOD, or whether it's a cleaner, whoever works in the NHS, this is how we literally help to save and improve and make a difference in people's lives, and it is absolutely wonderful.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was reading something yesterday, and this was about the president. Oh, there's a call coming in. Okay, if we can take the call. Hello? Yeah, hi. Hello?
How are you? Can you tell their names and please tell him?
Yeah, can you please, hello, hi. Can you please share your name? Can you come on the line?
Caller is gone.
Okay, gone. Okay, anyway, we'll take that later. So as I said, Geraldine, I was reading yesterday about President John Kennedy's visit to Cape Canaveral, and when the moon mission was going to happen, and he visited everyone. He met the top scientists, everyone, all the staff, all the people working there, getting ready for the mission. And as he was coming down, there was a man, bent over a mop and his bucket and cleaning the floor. And President Kennedy asked him, "So, sir, what do you do here?" And the man looked in his eye and he said that I'm getting ready to send the first man to the moon. I'm working on the same mission. So there's this sense of purpose because the whole organization is dedicated towards that singular purpose, whether it's be the top scientists or the cleaner, they're all kind of collectively working towards the same goal. And I hear that from your voice, the sense of purpose and the sense of meaning. And I think that's truly what defines us as human beings. When we go to work, we don't want to work purely because it's an activity, but because we give it some meaning which is beyond ourselves. So Geraldine, I hear that in your voice, I hear that in your stories. I'm going to ask you now to kind of define what exactly your role is. What exactly is your role in NHS? I mean, you said something about organ transplant and blood transfusion, is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm the National BAME Marketing Manager. And what I do, I engage and encourage people from the Black and Asian and the different ethnic groups to really consider becoming a blood donor or an organ donor. Unfortunately, Manish, there are so many clinical needs that are coming from the Black and Asian community and the mixed race community. And those needs are, as I said earlier, in terms of the blood donation, there's so many people from the Black and Asian community that need to receive regular blood transfusions, whether it's for, if you're a sickle cell patient, for the Black community, or for the South Asian community, it could be that you have thalassemia and therefore need blood or blood products in terms to help you as part of your treatment. And again, there are so many people from the Black and Asian community that are on the waiting list waiting for a transplant. Unfortunately, there are so many ill health underlying conditions that the people from the Black and Asian community suffer with or have been diagnosed with, and therefore, because of they've been diagnosed with that, some of them have gone into kidney failure or some type of organ failure, and so therefore they are waiting for the transplant. And in order to receive a transplant, they need to receive it from somebody from their own ethnic community, because that is where we're likely to have the best match, because we're likely to find the best blood type and the best tissue type that will line up with that transplant, and so it will make that transplant a lot more successful. So hence why we're constantly trying to engage with the community and really encourage them to reconsider.
Geraldine, sorry, can I take this call? I think there's a caller trying to reach us. Hello, sir. Hello. I'm sorry, I can't hear him. So we just continue with our conversation. So Geraldine, I believe there have been some changes in the policy in terms of organ donation. Can you talk about that? What are the changes? I mean, this is something which happened in the pandemic year, and possibly has been drowned with all the noise about COVID. So, would you like to talk about it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Manish. Yes, so May 2020 of this year, the law around organ donation actually changed. It was implemented. What that means, prior to the law change, everybody was encouraged to register as if they wanted to become an organ donor. But now what we're saying is, since May, everybody's automatically put onto the register, but people still have a choice. If you do not want to be on the register, we're asking people to record their decision on the register, and that will deactivate them. But if you're happy to be on the register, we also still need you to record your choice and let us know that you're happy to be on the register, and let us know what organs you would like to transplant. It's the reason why we did this. It was in 2015. They had a change in a law in Wales, and this worked wonderfully. We've seen there's so many more people are able to have a transplantation done, and so it means that many more lives are being saved, and hence why England has followed suit, because we want to be able to help and save more people's lives. And so that's why we're asking people, that's why the government has decided that they're going to have this change in law. But we still need NHS blood and transplant. We still need to educate the community to let them know that the law has changed, to raise the awareness, and especially amongst our Black and Asian community. Because unfortunately, Manish, there's not a lot of us on the donor base on the donor register prior to the change. And one of my role is to really raise the awareness with the Black and Asian community and let them know that there has been this change in law, and it's so important that you really do consider your choice. Do I want to donate my organs after death? The reason being why we want you to do that, or what I would encourage, and I would love for me, but people have a choice. I can't sort of say to people, this is what I want you to do, but I would like to show you the benefits that it does to our community. It means that our community have more of a chance in receiving organ transplantation from somebody from their same community. And if I can just say, at the moment, as of October 2020, there's over 1,500 people from the Black and Asian community that are waiting for a transplant.
Sorry,
That's
how many
over
you said?
A third of the patients.
How many people?
So over 1,500 people waiting to receive a transplant from the Black and Asian community. And that's over 1/3 of people that are waiting are from the Black and Asian community. And so, you know, that's the reason why my role is to really raise the awareness, to really educate people why it is vitally important that people really do record their decision and really do think about donating, and not just record their decision. Have a conversation with your family, with your loved ones. Let them know what your choice is. So if and when that vital time comes, when we die, your loved ones will know what your choice is, because you've had that conversation with you. And so when the specialist nurse comes and say, would you like to donate your loved ones' organs, your family would know what that decision is. So we say, go onto the register, record your decision, but also have that conversation with your loved ones, with your family, and let them know what your choice is, what your wishes is, so they can carry that through for you.
So Geraldine, I mean, that's very interesting. To be very honest, the first time I got to know about the change in law is only when I spoke to you a few days back, and I had no clue that there is a law, there's such a shift, change in law from what it used to be. So, and subsequently, I mean, today also I saw a hoarding somewhere saying that the law has changed, but I did not know what was talking about till we spoke. So basically, what you're trying to tell us is that if someone is dying, automatically the system would donate, parts of their body, yeah, unless
no. So let me just clear that. So what we're saying is, so what the law's done, it's automatically put everyone onto the database. Okay, so everybody's name's there, but everyone still has a choice whether they want to donate or not. So just because your name's there, the hospital or no one can't just automatically take those organs. What we'll do, once your name is there, they will look at the register and they would look. So if you've decided that that's what you want to do, you want to donate your organs, they would still consult with the family and ask the family. And even so, the family still has a choice. If you haven't had that conversation with your family and the family say no, then it's no. And even if you have had that conversation with your family, but I know the family still have the last say. So just to make it clear,
so just
the law is changing.
Sorry to interrupt. So what you're saying is basically the family has the last word. Is that correct?
Yes, the family has the last word. And what we're saying, if you want to make sure that the family follows your wishes, record that on the register, but also have the conversation with your family so that your family know, because it's a very painful and difficult time when somebody's lost their loved one, and all of a sudden a nurse from the hospital said, would you like to donate your loved one's organs? So what we're trying to say and also so that we follow through your wishes, have the conversation with your family, with your loved ones, and at the same time record it on the registry. And at the same time, the nurses and the doctors will always consult the family before they do anything.
So we're going to go into a break, Geraldine, and we'll come back right after this on this topic. Thank you very much. Welcome back, London. Geraldine is with us today, and she's from the NHS BAME communication team. And we have a call coming in. Hello, sir.
Hi, am I speaking to Manish?
Yeah, hi. Hi,
Manish. My name is Joy. I'm calling from Hertfordshire.
Hello, Joy.
Yeah, hi. Hello, Geraldine. It's lovely to hear all the things that you're saying. It's been very informative so far. I have got a very small question for you. That is, in the Asian and Black community, given the current corona situation, are there any stats to prove us being in a different position than the mainstream population here, or how careful should we be? Like, is there any statistics from NHS, especially for the Asian and Black community?
So from the Black and Asian community, if I just let you know some of the stats that are around our community in terms of waiting for donations. So Black and Asian patients, we wait longer on average due to a shortage of organ donors within the Black and Asian community. So listen to these stats. So Black patients wait around 900 days for an organ transplant. The Asian patients wait 736 days in comparison with the white community who waits 573 days. And that's literally because our clinical needs are far higher within the Black and Asian community than what they are in the white community. And because there's not so many people from the Black and Asian community that are willing to donate our organs. So therefore, we are waiting a lot longer. But saying that, just before we went to the break, Manish was talking about the awareness campaign. He was saying that he hadn't heard about the campaign prior to, just a few weeks ago. So NHS Blood and Transplant ran an awareness campaign for a year, trying to make sure that everyone from all different ethnicity was aware about the change in law that was going to be implemented and was implemented in May. So, so since we ran that campaign, I can say today that there's been, I think it's just, get the numbers correctly in my head. So I think the number of people from the Black and Asian minority ethnic background who have had their lives saved with an organ transplant since we've ran the campaign up to date has been 1,187 transplants taking place. And that is the highest on record. And going back to when you talked about the COVID, so yes, unfortunately, the Black and Asian community has been disproportionate with regards to the COVID, but I think it's because of the illnesses that we suffer within our community. A lot of people from the Black and Asian community suffer from things like diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, and these things are likely to lead on to organ failure. And unfortunately, this awful COVID, if our community is affected, it could wipe us out because we have a lot of those those underlying ill health conditions.
Does that answer your question, sir? All right. So Geraldine, what you stated just now, let me just sum it up. So what you're saying is, since the time you started the campaign, there has been more than 1,000 people whose lives have been impacted positively because of the campaign which you've been running. Is that right?
Yeah, so the number of people from the Black and Asian community, since we've been really driving and raising the awareness within all the different communities, but especially within the Black and Asian community, we've really been doing a lot of work. We have seen that the organs transplant is the highest on record since the campaign, which is now 1,187 transplants taking place.
Yeah, Geraldine, we have one more. We have one more caller. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.
On the line.
Yeah. Hi.
He's not talking.
He's not talking. He's on the line, but he's not talking. We can't hear you, sir. Hello. All right, we can't hear him. So, Geraldine, sorry to interrupt, because we have these calls coming in, and I want to kind of address if there are any questions. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So taking over from where we left it. So basically, lives have been saved, and COVID has not. I mean, COVID obviously has been kind of impacting the BAME communities a lot more than the normal, white middle class or white communities, simply because many more people are vulnerable, they have more complications, and they have existing health issues. So it's all the more important. I mean, your role becomes all the more important because your communication has to reach every single person in this country. It has to percolate down to all the people who live in this country, especially people who are disadvantaged. And there's still a number of people from the BAME communities, especially from the South Asian communities, who are not fully proficient with English, who don't understand the communication unless it's kind of done in their own language, or unless it's kind of driven through the community channels. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Manish, we try very hard at NHSBT to work with, as you rightly said, all of these different communication channels. So we work with a lot of the different publications, and we make sure that we can, we get the message out in these publications, and we do it not just in English. We do it in Urdu, in Gujarati, in all the different languages they're translated, letting people know about the change in law and letting them know, the importance of considering becoming an organ donation and having that conversation and recording their decision on our database. It's extremely important that we really do reach all of the community. So just like what we're doing here, community TV, community radio, community publications, NHS Blood and Transplant, we are working with these communities to be able to make sure that we can make sure they get the message out there about the importance of becoming a blood or an organ donor, and the change in law around organ donation.
So, Geraldine, I'm so glad that I'm furthering your cause, or I'm rather furthering your message, and I'm being a conduit in kind of getting your message across to more people through this interview. So just to be clear, I just wanted to be clear as to what you communicated earlier. So the law has changed, and what you told us is that the law has changed to the effect that every person can be a donor unless they opt out of it, and still their family has to be kind of cooperating, or rather open to the idea of organ donation. So for any reason, if someone dies, and even though he might have wanted to donate or might have expressed his interest in donating, if his family after his death refuses to do so, we would not, the donation would not be counted in. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
There are 3 layers to this communication. It's not very simple because of course the law has changed, but most people would assume that them not opting out is enough. But here, what you've told us, and which is very important and pivotal to this exercise, is that you have to communicate to your family members and they in turn have to communicate to the health or to NHS or whosoever is kind of taking the final call after their demise. So there's a 3-layer process here, and I think so the communication has to take that in account.
Yeah, absolutely right. So they have to record what we're encouraging people to do is record your decision on the database. Contact NHS, NHS Blood and Transplant Register, contact us. And then when you go into the register, there is a button you can click and you can record your decision there. So that's what we're really encouraging people to do. And Manish, it's really, I'm glad you've kind of led us down this path, because we're about to launch a new campaign for Q4, so come February 2021. And that new awareness campaign that we're about to launch is about encouraging families to have the conversation with their loved ones. Let people know what your decision is. To really, because as rightly said, I don't think a lot of the people within our communities are aware that that's what they need to do, is to have that conversation and to record your decision. Let people know what your wishes are.
So it's very, very important to have that conversation, and that conversation is key. Every family, every person needs to have that conversation with their families so that they're aware. Now, Geraldine, I mean, it's kind of a funny question, but I need to ask you. I mean, I can understand that someone who is in his, let's say, 70s or 80s or let's say 90s, and maybe in their, they cross the century. So for them, it's but natural that they would think about their death, or at least would be aware, that that time is going to come, But what about people in their 20s, 30s, 40s? I mean, they also can die. I mean, people die at all ages and for different reasons. So your communication, what you're communicating, does that kind of take that factor into account? Is it also about younger people?
Absolutely, yeah. And we should, we're all born, we live. None of us know when we're going to die, whether we're going to die young, old, we don't know. So we all live, and you're absolutely right. It's about educating everyone, and especially the younger communities. It's not sad or it's not difficult to have that conversation. It's just a one-off conversation, just like anybody. They say if you're young and you get married, you got a house, you should make a will. People make a will because they want to know what you want. You want your wishes to be followed through, where you want you to leave your love, your treasures to your loved ones. And it's just the same. It's just a small conversation. We're not asking people to have this conversation that dominates them. You have that conversation with your family, with your loved ones. You record that decision, but everybody knows what your decision is. And we really do need to educate the young people. And I think the young people are wonderful. I think when I work with the young people from our community, they are so open. And as long as they're aware, that they will do whatever, what they need to do, whatever, what they need to do. And so if you say to them, this is what we need to do, the young people are so good at, wanting to do the right thing for their loved ones, for their community, for their families and their friends. So I don't think it's something that we should be shy about. And you talked about trying to educate the younger ones. NHS Blood and Transplant has just created some new resources for schools, educational resources for schools, which we literally are going to, we've been working with the PHS, the Council of Schools, and we're just about to release those resources into the schools so that these conversations will be had in schools, talking about blood donation, talking about organ donation, so that they'll be talking about it at a younger age. And one of the things that I want to work with is how can I get this out to the supplementary schools across the South Asian community, again, for them to have these resources, which again, they can educate the younger generation and let them know, these are the things that we need to be considering, because unfortunately, these health conditions are affecting our community, and we can do something that we don't know when we're going to die. But we know that we can help our community by consenting to say we're happy to give our organs after death. So yes, it's good. It's a conversation that needs to be done, and there's a lot of education that needs to be done within our communities, because there's lots of myths out there around organ donation, lots of taboos, lots of myths out there, and people, haven't got the true facts. And so there's lots of things out there that's been circulating around, social media.
Sure.
Around organ donation.
Geraldine, we have a caller coming in. Can we take this call?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it okay with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, please. Sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello again. I can't hear the question. He's again gone. I'm
5 minutes to finish. Thank you.
okay, no. Sorry, I mean, the callers
okay.
keep calling in and dropping out. So, no. So, Geraldine, I mean, I do see the challenges you have in this communication. Obviously, no one wants to talk about death. Although, especially in the Asian community, it's a bit of a taboo. It's a taboo subject. You would not normally kind of have these conversations. In the wider society, especially in the wider British society, we have this culture of a funeral plan, funeral cover, taking, kind of keeping a pot of money for funeral expenses. So it's kind of widely accepted norm. But within the South Asian and Asian community, especially within the Bangladeshi, Bengali, and Pakistani, and some of the Islamic communities, it's almost a taboo. I mean, I do know, I had a conversation with a friend, and they said that, look, we don't talk about these things at home. And I was like, yeah, I can understand that, because, it's not something which you would kind of discuss. But here, what we're talking about is the necessity, that we need to kind of, reach some kind of conclusion. So, possibly your communication has to, kind of get over that and kind of make people understand and be aware that, look, end of the day, you're going to do a good work, by saying yes, or by kind of openly consenting. You will be saving someone's life in your own community, and that's kind of a very charitable act. It's an act, it's a godly act, it's an act of service,
Yes.
which is possibly looked upon as very beneficial or beneficent in every single religion. So possibly, I guess your communication would need to possibly work on that. My question was going to be, do you think there's a bit of like kind of, the change in law is good? I mean, it kind of serves a common good. But as a nation, as a country, do you think we are being a bit kind of telling people what to do a bit too much? I mean, we had this pandemic, and we had this constant telling, that do this, don't do this, do this, do that. Now, while it was required because we had a near emergency situation, we still have that, to be honest. We all carrying our mask in our pockets, but there's this overriding sense. I mean, is this unique to this country, this change in law, or is that kind of, I possibly haven't heard in any other Western nation if this has been brought upon? Do you know anything more about that?
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying is it, a telling thing. I think what they're trying to do, and I think we kind of have to look at it from a different perspective, is they're looking at the health inequalities that is affecting the Black and Asian community and affecting everyone. And I think what we've seen in Wales is when they changed the law around organ donation, because people weren't aware that organ donation wasn't on the top of everyone's sort of agenda. People wasn't really aware, or unless it sort of affects your home, unless it comes to your home, it's on your doorstep, a family one or loved one that that needs an organ transplant. It's kind of something that is just it's non-existent. So what they've done when they changed the law, and then we raised the awareness by running an awareness campaign that the law is changing. And the reason why the law is changing is so that we can have more people consenting to organ donation, so there's more transplant being done. We've seen that that's worked in Wales. So if it's worked in Wales, that's why they brought it over in England, and Scotland's following suit and all of it. So it's working. And it's about the health of people. NHS are doing it because of people, and from people from the Black and Asian community. So unfortunately, as you just rightly said, there's so many different culture. We have so many different reasons that is embedded in us from our culture, that we haven't discussed organ donation, but what we're trying to say is the reason why we do need to discuss it and try to change attitudes within our communities is because we are being affected. Our community, unfortunately, is dying because there's not enough people donating their organs. And as I said earlier, the best match is from somebody that received an organ transplant from somebody who's from the same ethnicity, because you're going to have the same blood match and the same tissue match, and it's going to be a more better match. So ethnicity does come into it when we look at organ donation and organ transplant. Ethnicity does matter because you get a better organ transplant when it's somebody from the same ethnicity. So what we're doing is about Manish and having, you said, people say, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, but it's about the end result, and the end result is saving our communities, saving our families, saving our loved ones, because too many people from the Black and Asian community are dying because they're not getting the correct organ transplantation that they need, because there's not enough people that has the same ethnicities from the Black and Asian community on the register who is willing to donate. But at the end of the day, you have a choice. Nobody's taking that choice from you. But we need to start thinking. We need to start changing the narrative and changing the stories. And that's why I say you mentioned the younger people. I think they are, they're pitiful in this. That we need to really educate them, because they are the ones that I think will change those narratives within our communities.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. I mean, we're running out of time, but what you said is so important. I mean, I wish I had more time today to talk about this. It's really important. What you said, every ethnicity matters. And what you're talking about is going to save lives. It's going to save lives of people. It's going to save lives and improve lives within communities. So this is really pivotal. I hope to have this conversation again with you. Possibly we'll we'll have to have another hour because what you're talking about is really important and crucial to saving lives and improving lives within communities. So thank you very much for being here. It was such a pleasure to have you here. I had many more questions to ask, but somehow we've run out of time. You are again one of the very few people working from the BAME community into a pivotal role within NHS who has the power to kind of influence things. And I'm very glad that you were here with us today. The current crisis, obviously, hopefully, will kind of go away, and hopefully our next conversation will be in better times. Thank you very much, and a pleasure to have you in the Manish Tiwari Show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.